Welcome everyone. Good evening. It's so nice to have you here. All right, so in today's session, we're always going to have that 5 minutes of warm-ups. We're going to move into those Qigong or wellness exercises. We're going to have that chair close by so that we can work on our waist and spine health, and then we're going to get moving into some kind of review on what we've been doing because we were doing that grasping the bird's tail sequence, and then in the last session we had touched on that ward off left and right. So let's start with our warm-ups, looking down at your feet, shoulders width apart and perfectly straight. Remember, your goal is to create this new alignment in your body so that we're healing ourselves throughout every day from the ground up. So check in on your knees. Remember, it's super important that they're in line with the toe direction so we can feel that weight front to back and side to side is nice and even. Then we have that lower back or waist area that we're going to relax down, finding length from the tailbone as we lift through the crown of the head, and then just let the arms hang down so that the shoulders relax, the fingertips kind of pull down to the earth, and we'll start at the top, drawing the chin to the chest, and then looking up. Gentle stretches here, just opening up the neck and finding a stretch through the shoulders as they hang down a little bit more. Let's do a couple more rounds. Nice deep breaths. On the last one, we end with the chin to the chest. Get a nice stretch here, and then we'll come back up into that neutral position. Now we're going to look over the shoulder. So head is nice and level, and we just go across from side to side. Remember, 70%. We're not going to push too far. We're just going to look gently over one shoulder and then the other. All right, let's come back to center. Nice neutral position, moving into the shoulder. So alternating or together, or large arm circles if that feels good. Just warming up the joints. So find that beautiful rotation here. A lot of our Tai Chi movements require a nice rotation through the shoulders and the elbows. So we want to start to bring that into our movement now. And we'll go the other way. So again, you could alternate or those large arm circles. Listen to your body. Whatever feels good. Remember, nice deep breaths down to the belly. And then we'll take a couple of turns the other direction. Roll those shoulders back. And then just shake them out and let them hang down. And now we're going to move into that turning from our waist and our spine. So just let the arms go and turn from side to side, letting your head follow the direction of the chest. And remember, this movement is coming from the spine. We're not going to turn and let our knees tweak towards the center. We're going to try to keep them in a neutral position, weight centered on our feet. All right, let's ease off. So slowing down from the middle body. We'll come back to this later. Returning back to neutral. All right, hips and then knees and ankles. So maybe a little bit wider stance, hands on the hips or lower back, or just let the arms hang down. And a big circle around. Just getting ready for our movements today. Let's go the other direction. All right, coming back to center on this circle, easing into it. And then we'll bring our knees and ankles together, bending down just a little bit with a nice circle. So moving one direction and then the other. We'll do a few circles and now the other way. And release. Slowly come up, roll those shoulders back. Find that nice neutral position. Take a moment and check in on your feet. We're going to move into those wellness exercises or Qigong exercises. So shoulders width apart, perfectly straight. Check in. Knees are in line, so when we bend down, they stay in line. Remember, not towards the center, perfectly in line here. Lift up through the crown of your head and let your tailbone relax down just a little bit. Fingertips are going to brush the sides of your thighs. And from here, we're going to rotate those palms and lift them up to shoulder height and shoulder width apart. Then the upper arms go down, the forearms, and the palms till they sit in front of the hips. So inhale, come up. Exhale, press down. Now with the legs, standing and then lowering down. So moving at your own pace with your own breath. Stay in that direction. I'm going to turn just so you can see. From here, inhale. And then exhale, lower down. Remember, how low you go is up to you. So reaching through the spine. And then maybe you just sink a little bit. The key is to align the standing up with the arms at shoulders height. And sinking down, hands in front of the hips. Let's do a few more. Just letting go. Maybe you close the eyes. Drawing that focus inward, feeling the press out of the legs. Energy moves through the spine and all the way out through the hands and fingers. Settling down every time, feeling nice and heavy, and then light and airy as you lift up. Let's do one or two more depending on your pace. This one will just settle down on our last exhale. And then we'll stand up and return to that original position. Okay, now looking up at the moon. So from here, we're going to rotate the whole arm so that the palms face the sky. Then we bring the arms overhead. Remember here, shoulders are down. So even if the arms have to be really far apart, then we bend at the elbows so that the fingertips point together and the hands press down till they sit in front of the hips. Then let the arms relax. Rotate the whole arm so that the palm faces up, and you can even look up. And then exhaling, palms down the front of the body. Next is coordinating the legs. So inhale up. Exhale, sinking down. Then standing up nice and slow with those legs. And then sinking down. Same thing. Lower down, nice and slow. Inhale up. Shoulders are relaxed down, finding that rotation. Trying to feel light and airy through the arms. I encourage you to really feel the push out of your legs here. Really feel sink down, nice and heavy. So we want to feel heavy through the lower half and light through the top. Again, let's do one or two more. On the last one, we're going to do a half a circle. So the arms come out in front like the first one. So we stand up, palms are facing down, but the arms come in front. And then we let go. Upper arms, forearms, and palms sink down to the hips. And then again, just bring the arms to the side position. Let the fingertips touch the sides of your pants and the shoulders hang down. Now releasing any tension you might feel, just swing the arms and just turn from side to side. Just a little cue to let through the shoulders here. Relax down. And then we'll come back to center. All right. So now's that time. We're going to grab that chair and we're going to get into some waist training exercises. All right, so remember, I did just come from that seminar, so we're going to talk about a couple of new things today. So remember, we're always sitting on the front of our chair. Now, we've been doing a lot of work turning from our middle lower back area. So finding that center of your sit bones here, feet are connected to the ground. Remember, we bring our arms up into that hug a tree position. So when we're here, I really want you to try and find the lightness in the arms. So don't be stiff. Try to relax the shoulders and imagine there's a weight pulling the elbows down. So we're going to start with just what we've been doing. So from here, we're going to turn from the center to corner. So you're in your own square, and we're going to go about 45 degrees, maybe less, from side to side. So just a little bit of movement goes a long way. Turning side to side. Try to let your head follow the torso direction. Remember to check in on the weight on your sit bones. We're not going to turn so far that weight's moving. We're just nice and centered, lifting through the crown of the head and just finding that movement in our spine. Okay, let's do a couple more rounds, really honing in on that spine turning. Okay, one more round. Completing both sides, corner to corner, and then back to center. And then throw the arms down. Remember, we always want to release that tension and just let go through the arms and the shoulders. Okay, so we've been doing a lot with this turning, right? And this area of our body. But what about our chest and our shoulders, right? These are all different joints that we can be using to create energy, okay? So now the shoulder's a lot easier than the chest, but let's think about if we're just separating and we just wanted to use our shoulder energy and warm up our shoulder joint, what would that feel like? So we could go back, up, forward, and down. So a circle just like we were doing, but it's all coming from this area, okay? It's all from the shoulder, one side. Now, of course, you could incorporate the turning that we've been doing, right? So we've been doing that figure 8. Remember the figure 8? So we could turn into it, drawing energy back and then out. Now we could also go the other way. So coming back to center, we would go forward, up, back, and down. So again, a circling of just one side, feeling the joint open, feeling the turning of the waist being included in this motion. So finding how having your sit bones connected will help you with this movement. So let's try the other side. Now the shoulders are nice and juicy from the beginning. Again, thinking about going back, up, forward, and down. So it's a big circle, but how can you kind of really find the momentum? So we're thinking about maybe if someone was pushing on you, how it would feel like to just let go and then go back. So just letting go and go back. So one more, and then we're going to go the other direction. I want you to feel the difference in the joints today. So coming forward, up, back, and down. So think about moving through the shoulder area and feel how that waist would get into that movement as well. So a little turning here, right? Turning. And one more. Okay, nice. Okay. So you felt how that little circling that we've been doing, that figure 8 is going to help you move into the shoulders, right? And we have both directions. So instead of just doing the figure 8, we can think about more of just shoulder. Now the other thing that we've been working on is that vertical circle with our chest, right? So let's hold our arms up for a moment and let's get into that. So remember, it's going to be this movement through the spine, both directions, right? So lifting up and then coming back. So exaggerating here because that weight's moving on my sit bones, right? But this is what it is. but when we actually do it, it's going to be a smaller movement, okay? So we're just finding that movement through the spine, really letting ourselves relax, and then we'll go the other way. So then again, forward and then back. So just finding that movement. Nice movement through the spine. And again, it's going to be small, okay? So these small movements are what we're trying to hone in. We start bigger and then we want to get smaller, okay? So throw the arms down. And now I want you to place one hand on your chest. And I want you to think about what it feels like with you moving your chest. So just move your chest. And then eventually, what would be the next step is separating the sides. So you would do just the one side. Of course, this side would have to move too, but right now just moving. Just find that movement through the spine and then go the other direction. Find your chest relaxing and then coming out, absorbing energy and coming out. And feel how this is going to help with the shoulder blade alignment so that everything can hang down and toss those arms down and relax. Okay, let's do just that basic figure 8 so that we can get back into that. This is a really great one for our spine. So from here, we're going to turn and we're going to go corner and then to the other corner. So exaggerating, big movements. Now remember, it's just going to be a little bit. So we just want to turn a little bit. We want to find relaxation through our shoulders. We want to find that movement so it's kind of an up and down, side to side, turning all at once. And then we go that other direction. So really kind of if you're digging into it and you feel that weight moving too much, but we want to find a small turn. Keep that weight centered, and we'll talk about why again in just a moment when we get into our bow stance. So really focusing in. Beautiful. Let's come back to center. Throw the arms down. Okay. So now we're going to keep that chair around for just a moment so that we can warm up our hips a little bit more. So maybe turning it to the side. We're going to stand up and just open up our hip joints so that we can get into that bow stance, all right? So holding onto the chair if you'd like, or challenging your balance. We're going to lift up and then open to the side and tap. So again, up, open, and then just tap down. So no matter where you are, as long as you focus on opening the hip to the side, this is going to really help with the flexibility in the joints, the alignment as we move into our bow stance practice. All right, now the other side. So last one. And then if you want turning, flipping that chair, whatever feels good, okay? So again, lift up and then open to the side and tap. So just really opening that hip no matter the height that we're kind of going to. Do a few more rounds. Remember to lift up. That really helps with the balance. We'll do one more. And then release. Shake out the legs. Take that second. We're going to move those chairs to the side. And now we're going to get into those legs. So that bow stance is the kind of center of our entire practice, right? This is going to be the foundation of our footwork. So where does it start? In that prepare or parallel stance that we've been working on. So take a moment and look down at your feet, perfectly straight. The lines that you're on, if you have floorboards, are the lines that you're going to step on as we practice. So I'm going to mirror you throughout this portion. We're going to shift to the right, and we're going to turn our left toes open 45 degrees. Sink down. Knee stays in line. So important. So weight centered on that foot, and then step directly out with your right foot. Heel, ball of foot, toes touch, bend the knee. Check. How is your alignment in your knees right here as we're starting? Not turned in. Feel those inner thighs working, okay? Now we're going to move forward. And as you move back and forward, I want you to feel the legs working. So maybe you put your hands on your thighs. The main thing is I'm going to turn, stay where you are. We don't want to do this. We don't want to go up and down. I want you to pick that position no matter how far you stepped out and move forward and back, not up and down. So we're building muscle in our legs. We're going to push ourselves to use the inner and outer thigh to keep the knees in line. The hips are open. So how does this play in with our waist turning that we just did all of that work on, right? So if we come into our bow stance, 60% in the front, 40 in the back, knee over the ankle, not too far, and we bring our arms up. Our hips should be open towards the corner. Our torso can also be open to the corner, or it can turn to straight. Now when we turn to straight, we're not going to turn our knee, our back knee in, okay? We're going to turn from that waist area that we were just doing. So we're going to try and feel flexible through the middle body and heavy through the legs. So now if we combine the movement of our legs with the movement of our torso, as we shift back, we're going to turn our torso to the corner. So now everything is 45 degrees. Our foot, our hips, our waist, everything. And then as we move forward, we're going to turn our torso back to straight. So feel the legs working. They're nice and slow. You're controlling that speed. Stay where you are. I'm going to turn so you can see. Slowly moving forward. Slowly moving back. Again, no matter the length of your stance. Tai Chi can be adjusted for anything that we're dealing with physically. We just need to listen to our bodies so that we can have a nice alignment. Let's do a couple more rounds on this side. So going, turning and back. Turning. Nice. So the slower we move, the more we can feel the explosion in the legs, controlled by the waist moving out to the hands and fingers. Let's do one more. Big push. Okay, throw it out. Relax everything again, okay? Maybe shake out the legs. Remember, when we have proper alignment and we sink into our legs, you're going to feel the burn. That's a good thing. That's the change happening in your body right now. You're getting stronger. You're healing the joints. Everything's doing really good. So let's do the other side. So starting in that parallel stance once again, this time shifting to the left, and we'll open up the right toes. Again, sinking down wherever's comfortable. That could be just this little bit. And then you step out 1 foot distance, okay? It's wherever you're comfortable. Making that stance, check the alignment in the inner thighs. Make sure the knees are pressing out or in, I should say, alignment with your feet. And then move forward and back. So again, just keeping that torso open, and we're just moving forward and back. So we're trying to feel what we call push and support. So as I push forward, this front leg is supporting me or stopping me. And as I push back, this leg is supporting me. So it's together like a spring action. And that's the difference of when we just move and we just kind of, yeah, I'm moving front and back in a bow stance. Okay? Or the difference of push and support. Even if I move quicker, it's still push and support instead of nothing really going on with the muscles, okay? We want to think about using the muscles in our legs as we push forward and back. So feeling everything really getting fired up as we practice. Okay, now moving forward. Again, lifting those arms up into that hug a tree position. Check. Let's start at the corner. Hips are open, torso's open. So how do we separate it? And it's not even separating it, it's just a connection, but it's not taking our hips with our torso, okay? So we're keeping our hips open, we're keeping that weight centered on our feet. And we're just finding this movement in our spine. So we're taking that chair practice now into our moving or standing practice because we're holding right now. And now we'll take it into the moving practice. So going back to straight. Then as you shift back, you turn to the corner. So now legs, waist, arms, everything's to the corner. And then remember, keep it open, but turn your waist as you go back to straight. Okay, so shifting back and forward. And just feel kind of the tension building in your legs as you use this push and support. As you turn from the waist and you feel the strength and power of the legs, the flexibility of the middle body, and you really try to feel light and airy through the arms. Let's do a couple more. Coming back, last one. And throw it out. Throw it down. Release the body. Okay. If your legs are burning, I want you to know it's normal. Okay? It's a good thing. This is you building up the strength in your body to heal your body. Okay? So let's take a break from that for a moment. Let's go back into that ward off practice that we were working on. So we're going to just go into that parallel stance. Remember, as we're here, try to relax that lower back to release any tension that might have built up without being conscious about it that whole time in our bow stance practice. Just something to focus on later on. Now from here, we're going to bring our arms up. Remember, we're not just going to be holding a ball. We're going to close the arms a little bit more. Okay? Now, the difference from this position to ward off is that we reach out with the top arm. Okay? So from here, I'm going to turn so you can see. It's here. So we can have one arm underneath and one on top reaching out. Remember, we're not going to be too close. Yang style now is a large frame, so we want to take up as much space as possible. Now, if you'd like, you can think I'm going to mirror you, so the right hand would be on top and then the left arm is underneath. And we're just going to switch. So right now we're just going to open and then we're going to close. And we're going to feel reaching on the top and then this arm's underneath with the palm facing the sky. Remember not to bend that wrist. Have everything in line so the energy flows freely. And then we're going to switch. Now feel the shoulders and elbows do the rotation. So if you'll notice, my elbows aren't changing too much in three-dimensional space. They're not closing in and then opening. It's more of a rotation through those joints that's going to allow me to do this open and close. That's feeling pretty good, right? That was like easy from last week. Now we got this open and close. Okay, so now before we do it both sides together, let's just remember the basic pieces of ward off left and ward off right. The main thing being that underarm is facing the sky and it's going to hinge up. Right? It's just going to lift up. It's not going to change. So if you see it from this direction, it's not going to change, but it's the intention of hinging up. Now remember, when we hinge up, we're not going to hinge up and have this elbow be high. We're going to relax everything down through the shoulders and elbows, right? We're going to relax the arms, but we're still hinging up. Now Tai Chi is about one thing going up, one going down, right? One going left, one going right. Everything coordinating together to bring that power. So as we're doing this hinge, what's going on with that upper arm? It's going to press down, right? It's going to grab or connect and press down. It's just pressing down. Now it doesn't make a lot of sense when it's just the palm, right? It's just all you see is a little bit of up and down. It's the two together. So if you have that right arm on top and the left arm's underneath, you're going to bring the palm over the forearm and press down. Now when we end up, the fingertips are going to point to the center of the forearm. And if you had a third hand, you'd have one fist here between them. So if it helps for your mind, you could think you have someone's wrist and their elbow is here. That's why we're so close. We don't want to be too far, okay? We want to be closer. Okay, so now from here, up and down. Yes, and just reverse it. So reach out and then go up and down. So that center of our forearm is what's key, right here. This is where we're kind of using the intention, up and down. Now I want you to grab your forearm and I want you to do this. I want you to rotate your palm flat and now rotate it to the sky. Do you feel the muscles engage when we turn and rotate up? This is important, okay? This is building the strength and the tendons and ligaments. This is engaging the muscles. We want to be facing the sky, okay? So from here, up and down. Yes, up and down. One more time on this side and then we're going to do the other side. Okay, so this time, right arm's underneath, left palm's on top. So remember, hinge and press down go together, up and down. Now check again. Fingertips point to the center of the forearm, right? We have just a little bit of a gap, not too much, just a little bit. And then we reverse, up and down. Beautiful. Let's do a few more, up and down. Remember, we're passing over the center of the forearm, okay? Now we're going to talk a little bit further. We didn't do this on the other side, but I want you to think if we're ahead, we're going to open a little bit, okay? So watch how my body turns towards that left side just a little. This gives you that space, okay? I'm going to turn one more time. It's the difference of being here versus here. So even if I leave my arms in the same three-dimensional space, do you see how my torso turning closes this space? We want that big space. Remember, we're large frame now. So we want to take up that space, okay? So up and down. Okay, now that we've got this, right? You feel like you've nailed this? All right, let's go between one side and the other, right? So we're going to combine what we first did with what we were just doing into the ward off left and right. So we'll start on the side we were just doing. From here, we're going to go up and down. Now we're going to reverse it and we're going to open up those arms. Then we're going to close for the other side. And then we're going to go up and down. Then we're going to reverse, open, and then we're going to close and do the movement. So we're making a big arm circle and we're using the shoulders and the elbows. We're learning all about ward off left and ward off right. Yes, so this is actually one of the harder things to kind of coordinate. And our goal here is we're going to start working on coordinating this with the legs. So this movement here, up and down, reverse, open, close, up and down, reverse, open, close, up and down. Nice. Okay, so now we're going to break them apart, okay? Now, the goal is the next session, we're going to get them together just like we were doing with the footwork. But right now, we're going to work on combining all the elements that we've been working on. So the open close of the arm, the turning of the waist, the support of the legs, and we're going to do it all together. So just watch one time. I'm going to do it from a couple of angles. The first one is going to be facing you, okay? So I'm going to mirror you throughout this portion. So just wait one moment. I'm going to show you a couple of different ways first. We're in our bow stance, and we're just going to do our normal bow stance, but what we're going to do is we're going to show our ward off, and we're going to move forward, okay? So we're going to practice reversing and moving forward. Now to see from the side direction, it's reaching out and pressing down. Now reach out and then press down. Things to note is we have this right angle. The elbow and knee are going to be in line no matter the length of your stance. Elbow and knee are in line. Okay? So coming from here, I want you to now see we're leaning into it. So we're not going to be vertical. We're going to lean into it. Why? So that we have the most power in a straight line from our leg through the crown of our head. So we're going to relax our waist down. We're not going to kink out the lower back. We're going to lean into it. And we're going to stay leaning when we're back, and we're going to lean into it. So if you've ever pushed something heavy, it's the same thing, right? We get the most power when we lean into a movement, okay? So we want to think about that. It also gives us the best alignment for our bodies. So let's do it together. All right. So remember, I'm going to mirror you. So we're going to shift to the right and we're going to open up our left toes. Sinking down, step out. So again, we're just going to be moving forward and back. This is our footwork. We just did this, right? So now with the waist, we're going to be a little bit straight and we're going to open a little bit. So it's a little bit straight and then open just a little bit. It's not going to be a big movement this time. Remember, less is more. We train bigger movements, but it's always going to be the small stuff that gives us the most power. So now the arms. Just to refresh your memory, that left arm's on top, the right arm's underneath, and it's going to go up and down. So we're just going to go up and reach out and then press down. Okay, now I want you to check. When we're in the final posture, your elbow and knee should be in line. So we're not going to turn too far with our spine. We're going to relax into it, and we're going to let those shoulders and elbows hang down. Okay, now shift back and reach out. Then as you move forward, press down and hinge the right arm up. Nice. Now shifting back. And then move slowly so everything stops at the same time. And then shifting back, everything goes back together. So we're trying to slow it down. We're challenging our brains, we're challenging our body to move nice and slow. So this is so key. We just want to really move into it. Yes. Check in on that palm. Is the right palm still kind of turned to the sky, not just straight? And then our fingertips are pointing to the forearm and it goes over that forearm center and then presses down. Nice. All right. Let's do a couple more on this side. Okay. Back and forth. All right. One more. Go back. Really slow it down. Legs, waist, arms, everything together. Nice. Okay. Throw it out, release the arms, okay? One of the hardest things in Tai Chi is 45 minutes of keeping them up, okay? There's nothing like that to kind of get those shoulder muscles burning. So now we're gonna do the other side. So again, I'm gonna demo it 2 different directions just so you can see again. Remember, it's a bow stance. So no matter the length of your stance, we still wanna have that shoulders width apart. We only have 2 legs. We can create stability front to back, but if we're on one line, how are we stable from left to right? So we want to have that extra space here, okay? Now this time, we're going to have the right hand on top. The left arm's going to be underneath. So essentially, you can think the arm that's underneath is the leg that's going to be forward, okay? And you're going to go up and down together, okay? And we're just going to do this movement together. Now again, if I turn to the side, what do you see? Leaning. We have that space in our body by being open and not square. And we have the elbow and knee in line instead of being turned to the side. And we're looking ahead, okay? So now let's do it together, all right? So shifting to your left this time, we turn and open the right toes. Sink down and step out naturally. Again, that could be 1 foot distance, whatever it is for you, so that you can have this great alignment. Forward and back. This is all we're doing. And remember, our torso is not going to be square. It's going to be kind of open. Just a little bit, not 45 degrees, but just a little bit. Okay, now, right arm's on top, left arm's underneath. And what are we doing? Up and down. Reaching out and then hinge up and press down. Nice. Okay, now we're going to do it reverse and bring your weight back. So the weight should be all in the back leg. This should be pretty light in the front. And then we're going to push into it as we hinge up and down and move 60% forward. So we're learning how to take that coordination to a new level. This is one of the most challenging things about Tai Chi, is coordinating our whole body so that everything arrives together. Now, we usually don't coordinate our breath with our movement, but as we're practicing this is called single movement practice. We can inhale and reverse, exhale into the movement. When we practice any sort of sequence of movements, we don't want to think about our breath. We just want it to be natural. But right now, this is a great way to just coordinate forward and back, up and down, inhale and exhale. Let's do 2 more. Slowing it down. 1 more. Okay, watch one time. Just let go for a second. Throw it out. I'm just going to show you. So what we're going to do next session is we're going to work on stepping in and then stepping out and doing the other side. So we're going to coordinate legs, waist turning, arms open, step out, and then go together. Okay? So our goal is to get more familiar with all the different pieces of Tai Chi and how we can weave them together in new ways, right? It's like learning to drive a car where you have the different things you have to learn and then it all becomes natural. That's what we're doing here. We're getting you comfortable with individual pieces so then eventually you're just going to flow and free flow in whatever way feels good for your body, right? That's the mission. Okay. We're going to close class in just a minute. I want to do just a little bit of a cool down here. Grab onto that chair or your wall if you'd like. We did a lot with our legs. Let's stretch them out for a second. So grabbing the hand to the foot, just taking a nice stretch here. Remember, keep those knees together. That's going to help you stretch out the front of the leg here. When it's open, you don't get as much. And then if you're trying to balance, picking a point ahead of you will help with that as well. So taking 2 more breaths here. We'll do the other side as well. So stepping down, shift, find your balance, pick up. Getting a couple of more breaths here. Just really focus, knees pointing down as much as possible. You can always take a strap or a towel here too. That's super helpful to help with this. Bringing the foot close to the butt area. All right, let's take a big inhale, reach the arms up. We're going to release our lower back. So folding forward, bend into the knees, and just let the upper body hang. So really try to let your lower back open here. You can even shimmy your ribs from side to side to find a little bit more space through the lower back. Just let everything hang for 2 more breaths. And then we'll slowly come up. Roll the shoulders back once you reach the top. And we're going to do 1 more reach through the fingers, reach up, and then just let the arms come down. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed today's session. Great work, everyone.